have a pretty cool pair. This is a Caterpillar 25 tractor and a Caterpillar number 4 Highway Patrol road grader. Now both of these are in 1/16 scale, but they're made by two different manufacturers. The 25 tractor was made by Diecast Masters, and the number 4 grader was made by SpecCast. Now, this really is a pretty cool pair because they're matched up exceptionally well. The Caterpillar 25 was something like a 25, 26, 27 horsepower tractor. And the number 4 grader was meant to be pulled by a tractor that was 20 to 25, 30 horsepower. So it's actually a great pair. Now, the 25 come out in the early 30s. And what's significant about that is that was the time that Caterpillar switched from the gray paint to the yellow. The idea was to make their equipment stand out and say, like, yeah, it's industrial, it looks bigger, it's tougher, it's yellow, whatever. And all the other manufacturers kind of followed suit. Their industrial lines or construction lines, whatever you want to call it, they all became different colors from what the agricultural lines were, just to make them stand out. Now, the grader, I don't think Caterpillar made their own graders. I think they bought another company in the 20s. I got it written down somewhere. They bought another company, and by the time that this number 4 came out, they'd pretty much absorbed everything about the other company. So now they're Caterpillar, but originally it was somebody else that they just bought and painted, you know, put the Caterpillar sticker on. So anyway, the number 4 come out in the early 30s, the 25 come out in the early 30s, and they match up really well. Now, because it is two different manufacturers here, it doesn't match up perfectly. And you can see down here on the hitch, you do have this spring to hold up the drawbar, but it doesn't really work the way that it's supposed to just because of the way it's made. It looks great, but it's not really functional, so you can't quite get it into the drawbar here. But it does look pretty good sitting on the shelf. Now this tractor is pretty nice. Diecast Masters really does just continue to impress. They do a very good job with the little details, and the balance between plastic and diecast is really pretty good here. The thing that stands out the most and surprises me the most is how well this thing rolls on the metal tracks. Most of the 1/16 crawlers just don't roll easily on the tracks, and this one does, which is really pretty surprising. The amount of little details is just as good, if not probably better, than first gear in 1/25 scale. Like I said, Diecast Masters kind of keeps surprising you and impressing. They really do. I think the plastic is used really pretty minimally here, and I think it works really well. The operator station is really well done. You can see a plate on top of the transmission there. You can't read it, but it's there, and it looks really pretty good. The data plate on the back here, the back of the seat, looks fantastic. The drawbar is cool. It's even got a little pin in it. The canopy is nice. The undercarriage is cool. The tracks, like I said, they're just really well done and just as smooth as can be. It's really, really just well done. Underneath, it looks pretty darn good. And I think my favorite thing here is the fuel cap. I don't know what it is, but I love the fuel cap. Just that it looks right. It's really cool. The other thing is you have a hand crank here so you can crank start the motor, which I can't imagine wanting to go out and do that when it's 12 degrees outside. But you also have the old leather strap that was used to hold the handle up, because otherwise it would wind up falling down here and you either lose it or you break it off on something. And that's just the way it would go. Something else that's really great about this is that the hood pops up and you can see the interior detail for the motor, the fan, the manifold, all that other stuff. It's kind of hard to get them to open up. Come through to the other side, you can see all the spark plug lines and all that other fun, fabulous stuff. Now, that is all plastic in there, but you know what? It looks pretty darn good. And for the price point, it's really a pretty good value, I would think. I'm really pretty impressed, honestly. This is more than what I was expecting. Like, I saw the pictures and I knew I wanted to pick it up, but it's just better than I thought it would be. Now the grater is also pretty well done. So this was made by Diecast, and it's actually heavier than what I would have expected it to be. It's the same way as that tractor, where it's basically die-cast with a little bit of plastic here and there. I think the plastic is used appropriately. Like, the pieces that should be plastic are plastic. And it looks really good. The paint is good. The decals are nice and crisp. You even have the data plate there on the side of the frame, which is pretty cool. Now, as I pointed out, the drawbar is fixed in place. It looks like it should be able to move up and down, but it doesn't. It's just the way it was made. And I think that's okay. The turntable for the blade is movable. You can change the pitch of the blade too, or the mold board. Some guys get all bent out of shape when you call it the blade. That's a mold board, blah, blah, blah. It's whatever. Nobody cares. Now, as far as the height goes, it really feels like you should be able to adjust the height, but it's really stiff, and I don't know that you should. I have no idea if it's supposed to be movable or not. The wheels are pretty well done, especially with the alternating spokes. That's really pretty cool. Now, with this being from the 30s, the way it works is, obviously there's no hydraulics here. There's no power to any part of this grater. So these are all mechanical adjustments. That's what these two these two wheels are here for. One does your height adjustment on the left side, one does your height adjustment on the right side. So in theory, you would get whatever angle you wanted out of the turntable. You'd get the pitch of the blade that you wanted, and then you would start taking off in one direction, and you would do your height adjustment as you would go. You can adjust the angle of the blade, but it's not something you're going to do while you're moving. And I can't imagine the communication between the guy sitting back here in the seat and the guy running the tractor. It's, I can't imagine. So these two really do make an excellent pair. Just that the fact that they were both made for each other. It's two different manufacturers that actually work together and fit is just phenomenal. It looks great sitting on the shelf. I love having all the older construction equipment, just for the fact that, you know, this comes from a time where however big you built it, it wasn't big enough. You know, look at Robert Letourneau. You know, anything that was out there that was being built, he would look at it and say, no, bigger. And it was off to the races from the 30s. And this was really kind of the start of that. And the other thing, too, that I really appreciated is it's always, at least I think it's important to look back and look at what your grandfathers and your great-grandfathers would have done. You know, there was two men that sat on these things for 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. Who knows? You know, one guy up front just pulling this thing, and the other guy back here just eating dust, pulling all the vibration out of them steel wheels, all the little rocks he left behind, all the holes he made, just steady taking it all day. And it's important to look at where you come from to think about where you are now. The last new grater that I ever run was a 12M, and to think about how nice that machine was, and you could get it to do anything you wanted, and to look back at this and think that's where we come from. And yeah, just the idea that there were men far harder than me, you know, that went to work on these things. It's kind of humbling in a way, and it's important to keep that perspective. At least for me, it is. It means something to me. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. If there's anything you'd like to see, let me know. I might just have it. If you want to see what else I got, please subscribe to Maryland Construction Diecast, and thanks for watching.